My best friend told my husband what happened on the girls' trip. For almost 2 years, I hated her for it. I called her a traitor. I called her jealous. I called her self righteous. I told anyone who would listen that she had destroyed my marriage. The truth was much simpler. She destroyed my lie. And at the time, I couldn't tell the difference. The girls' trip was supposed to be a celebration. 5 women, 4 days, Nashville, live music, expensive drinks, matching shirts we were all too old to wear. The kind of trip people post online and pretend is effortless. In reality, we'd spent months planning it. The bride, Lauren, wanted one last weekend before her wedding. Everyone agreed. Everyone showed up, including me. At the time, I'd been married to Noah for 11 years. We had a daughter, a house, a life. From the outside, everything looked stable. Inside, things felt different. Not terrible, just distant, routine, predictable. The kind of marriage people slowly stop paying attention to. I didn't realize then that stability and unhappiness aren't the same thing. I know that now. The first night of the trip was harmless. Dinner, music, tourist photos. Nothing unusual. The second night was where things changed. We ended up at a crowded rooftop bar. The music was loud. The drinks kept coming. Everyone was dancing, laughing, acting younger than we actually were. That's where I met him. His name was Tyler, at least I think it was. That detail doesn't matter much anymore. What matters is that he made me feel noticed, interested, exciting. For a few hours, I stopped being someone's wife, someone's mother, someone's responsibility. I became the version of myself I imagined I'd lost years ago. That's how affairs start. Not with love, not with destiny, with ego, with attention, with a temporary escape from reality. The kiss happened outside the bar. The affair happened back at his hotel. And by sunrise, I'd already convinced myself it was a mistake that would never matter again. The human mind is remarkably creative when protecting itself. The next morning, I acted normal. Everyone acted normal. Mostly. Except Ava, my best friend. She'd known me since college, seen every version of me, every good decision, every bad one. And when I walked into breakfast that morning, she took one look at me and knew. Not everything. Just enough. Later that afternoon, she pulled me aside. What happened last night? My stomach dropped. I lied immediately. Nothing happened. She stared at me. I lied again. She kept staring. Eventually, I broke. Not because she caught me, because I couldn't stand the disappointment in her eyes. I told her everything, every detail, every excuse, every rationalization. When I finished, she looked physically ill. You're going to tell Noah? It wasn't a question. I laughed. No. Ava crossed her arms. You have to. No. You cheated on your husband. I rolled my eyes. It was one night. Even now, remembering those words makes me cringe. The way I said them. The confidence. The arrogance. As if betrayal becomes smaller when it's brief. Ava shook her head. Tell him. No. The conversation ended there. Or so I thought. The trip ended 2 days later. I returned home, hugged Noah, kissed him, asked about his week, helped Emma with homework, and continued living my life. For 3 weeks, I believed I'd gotten away with it. Then Noah came home early on a Thursday afternoon. I knew something was wrong immediately. Not because he looked angry, because he looked exhausted. The same expression people wear when they've finally accepted something they didn't want to believe. He sat at the kitchen table. The same kitchen table where we'd celebrated birthdays, helped Emma with school projects, planned vacations, built a life. Then he asked one question. Is there something you need to tell me? My heart stopped. I still remember the sound of the refrigerator humming, the clock ticking, My own breathing. Everything suddenly felt too loud. What do you mean? The worst answer possible. The answer guilty people give. Noah looked down at the table, then back at me. Ava called. The room tilted. I actually grabbed the counter to steady myself, because in that moment I knew. Not suspected. Knew. Everything was over. What did she say? Another terrible question. Noah laughed softly. Not because anything was funny, because he couldn't believe he was hearing me ask it. Then he said, "She told me the truth." I wish I could tell you I confessed immediately. I didn't. I argued, deflected, minimized, explained. Anything except accept responsibility. Eventually, Noah stopped listening. Not because he was angry, because he was done. There's a difference. People think marriages end during dramatic fights. Sometimes they end during silence. The moment someone realizes they no longer recognize the person sitting across from them, that's when ours ended. The divorce took almost a year. Not because we fought, because separating a life is complicated, especially when children are involved. Emma was devastated. My parents were disappointed. Mutual friends chose sides. And through all of it, I blamed Ava. At least publicly. Privately, I blamed myself. But admitting that would have required honesty. And honesty wasn't something I was particularly good at back then. I stopped speaking to Ava completely. Blocked her number, ignored messages, deleted her from my life. She tried reaching out several times. I refused every attempt. For nearly 2 years. Then something happened. Emma graduated high school. Like most graduations, it became a gathering of people who normally avoided each other. Family, friends, ex-spouses, former neighbors, everyone. I arrived early. Noah arrived later. And then I saw Ava. For a moment, I considered leaving. Instead, I looked away. After the ceremony ended, Emma disappeared with friends. The adults lingered, talking, taking pictures, pretending life was simple. At one point, I found myself standing beside Ava near the parking lot. Neither of us spoke. Then she said, "You still hate me." Not a question, a statement. I stared at the pavement. "I don't hate you." The lie sounded weak even to me. Ava nodded, then surprised me. "Good." I looked up. She smiled sadly. "Because I never hated you." That sentence hit harder than I expected. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then I finally asked the question I'd carried for years. "Why did you tell him?" Ava took a long breath, then answered immediately. "Noah wasn't the reason." I frowned. "What?" "You were." I didn't understand. Ava continued. "I knew what would happen if you kept that secret." Still confused. She shook her head. "You would have become the kind of person who could live with it." The words landed harder than any accusation. Because deep down, I knew she was right. Ava wasn't protecting Noah. Not entirely. She was protecting the version of me that still had a chance to be honest. The version I was actively trying to bury. Then she said something I'll never forget. "A real friend doesn't help you hide the worst thing you've done." The parking lot suddenly felt very quiet. Because after 2 years of anger, I finally saw the situation clearly. Ava hadn't betrayed me. She'd refused to participate in my betrayal. Those aren't the same thing. Years later, I can admit something I couldn't admit back then. Telling Noah cost Ava our friendship. She knew it would. She did it anyway. Not because she enjoyed it. Not because she wanted to punish me. Because she believed some truths belonged to the people living inside them. And Noah deserved the truth about his own marriage. Eventually, Ava and I rebuilt our friendship. Slowly. Awkwardly. Piece by piece. Trust takes time. Especially when you've spent years misunderstanding someone. Today, when people hear the story, they usually ask the same question: Was she right to tell him? My answer is simple. If your best friend can watch you betray someone and never challenge you, that's not loyalty. That's permission. And sometimes the most painful thing a real friend can do is tell the truth when you desperately need them not to.